Hello and welcome to Life is Feudal, Forest Village. The goal for this episode is to focus on meat production. As you can see, the barn down here, that's that one down there, there's just not enough meat. We're getting as far so far with starting on the vegetable farms, and really, I mean, the next thing is to start getting some proper meat production into here. And the plan really is to go for the cattle farms, because that's like long term. There's the potential, if we introduce a mod, where we can then start getting hide from those cattle pastures as well. So I've started to flesh things out a bit. I've been putting in some extra foundations for the barns over here. I can already see things are going to be slightly lopsided the way I originally planned, and that's just because what I was thinking is I want this like little strip here where we've got the storage. And I'd rather have too much storage than not enough. I mean, that field alone was producing something like 4,000 vegetables. Unless I keep selling them off at a regular pace, I think I'm gonna end up with like tons and tons of vegetables. So I'd rather have, like, you know, more storage than not enough. Because if this one, for instance, runs out, then I'll start filling the other ones up as well. So yeah, I've filled in these little foundations here and got them posed off, except for the wells and the little street lights that they'll get doing. I've started expanding out here. I've got a double wide road, because this is going to be an important road down here, because the original plan was I was just going to start dumping cattle farms down here, similar structure to what I've done here for the vegetable farms. But then I thought, well, actually, I mean, I need to be able to transport all this stuff around. I need to get these people entertainment as well. So what I've done is I've run some little roads off the sides here. I've got a caravan stable here, and I've got another one there. The idea is that these will be taking, you know, resources from these barns to somewhere else. They'll be bringing resources to the barns. So again, I'd rather have too many than not enough. I also want to provide some entertainment for these people, so I'm thinking it makes more sense to have like an actual tavern in the middle here. So then we have our cattle farms up here. So that tavern will be servicing the people who live here, as well as all of the herdsmen that live up here. But I'm already starting to see things are a bit out of sync. We've already crossed like the middle line by having that there. So I think what I'm going to do is take that one away. If I can find the bloomin' delete order. Actually, that's a thought. I don't think it'll work. Yeah, it doesn't work. It's a bit of a pain that having a separate deconstruction option, but I'll get rid of that. Oh no, we can't have that. Can't have a little bit sticking out. No, that's not going to happen. Right. If we go for... Right, that's a municipal building. So what if we put the tavern... Yeah, let's say we put our tavern there. Yeah, now that's an idea. Yeah, I like that a bit more. Right, okay, so that's about the best I can do for the road there. Okay, so then we run a road down... Oh, hang on. It's... Right, we'll run that one down to there. And then we put ourselves another caravan stable on that side. I'll flip that one around. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, we'll do that one there. We'll do our road up there. Oh, don't like that. Wow, that's a big gap I'm running there. Right, I'll put that there. We'll get rid of that road there. Oh. I don't often want to make it difficult. Take that one back out. Why won't you delete? I'm going to have to build the road to delete the road. Right, okay. Ah, bizarre. Right, yeah, there's a massive gap there for the tavern. So I think what I'll do then is... I think that's a bit... Yeah, because the trouble is I've got a big gap on that side. Ah, now that's a thought. What I could do then, I could take advantage of that, give myself an excuse to put in, say, things like wells, for instance. I mean, I can't build anything in that area, but at least I can put in things like wells. We can put in lighting, so we get some street lights. That adds a bit of interest to the streets, at least. Yeah, that's not so bad. Now, I really want more caravans now. I don't want to come back and this bites me in the butt. So what I'm thinking is I'll put the caravans up there and up there. So we do have still a bit of a gap. It's not exactly lining up. So I'll have to think of other things I might be able to fit into there, for instance. And I can already see I've got a big gap here and a big gap in there. Because, I mean, the vegetable farm, let's see. So that road, yeah, I'm going to have to finish the terraforming off. But I can see the next farm is going to be over here, which means we've got a gap in the middle here, and then we're going to have this big gap up here because we don't need another house, or at least I didn't think I did until it just dawned on me. I need to be able to cover for all these people living here. It's like, duh. where are all these people going to live? So that's something I need, and I may as well put that in. Alright, so which way around's that one? Man, I wish I could see which way these round. Right, that one goes that way around. Right, okay. So that should... Hang on, is that... Yeah, that road's lining up. Right, so... We'll line that up to there. And we'll put in a well. Now, I'm leaving this untouched for now, because I want to finish the terraforming off. I want to clear out all these trees so I can see what on earth I'm doing as well. That's kind of important, but we're going to have to do a lot of terraforming. Now, as I mentioned in the previous episode, I ran into this strange problem where I was getting people from all over the place coming in and helping with phase 1 of the terraforming. So there's something I've been thinking about to try and, just out of curiosity, to see if I can get around that. But we'll see. So let's pause all these bits off for now. I don't want people going crazy. Wells and what have you, I'm not too fussed about. Now, the plan will be, once all this lot's built and ready, I can then start bringing in the pastures up here. And it'll be kind of similar, except I've got to be able to cater for the extra hay as well, because the cows are going to need hay. So yeah, that's something I need to have a bit of a think about. Now, another thing I want to do is I want to replicate what I did here out to these places here. So I'm actually going to put in an order to deconstruct this one here. So that's 2 fishermen have got nothing to do now, so I'm going to unpause these 2. So then those 2 fishermen can go and work over there. Down here there was something I was going to do. Now, another thing that I want to focus on is improving the fishing over here in village number 1. So I want to repeat what I've done for this lodge, for these other lodges up the coast. So I've put in a deconstruct order on this one here. I've unpaused 2 of the fishing farms. So that still gives these 2 people something to be doing. Once that's finished, we'll start doing some terraforming, expanding the land out to here. Then we'll get a fishing lodge out there. Now, it'll be interesting to see how that one compares, because again, I mean, at the moment this lodge here is very close to land, and it's very close to where the people live, so they're going to end up kind of similar to here. But I still think they're going to be a lot closer to the goods, the food and what have you that they need. So it'll be interesting to see how those 2 compare once they're done. And another thing that I want to do actually is I want to add some more fish to this area down here, because I don't think they're getting enough fish. Yeah, there's not enough, so I'm going to get a lot of terraforming done down here, but I really want to focus on this first. So I'm going to wait for them to clear this area out, and then I'm going to start, when I start the terraforming I'll bring it back, because what I want to do is I want to just try a little experiment. I mean, we've only got like 10 spare people, 11 if you include the builder, but yeah, I've got an idea, but let's see if it works. Well, I was hoping to carry out a test for the terraforming, but I just haven't been able to do that. I lost a lot of the population and it's still falling, so it's going to be a while before the population picks back up and I can start doing that, but I've had to press ahead all the same with Village 2, just for the sake of being able to get things done, because I mean, I made a couple of rookie mistakes, to be honest. I put all the instructions in for this Village 2 to get upgraded, you know, buildings, you know, just the foundations and what have you, and then the roads, and that was it, because we were in summertime when that all kicked off, and of course what I forgot was there was a load of people over in Village 1, they were all busy paving the roads over there. So what happened was, by the time they got finished and it came round to do Village 2, we were into the winter time, so then of course everybody decided to pile in. All of the farmers who had nothing to do, all of the gardeners, anybody who didn't have anything to do just piled in to help out. And of course a lot of people then died of hypothermia, starvation, so I lost a lot of people, and it was a case, so we went through that that first winter, got round to doing the second, and I noticed, oh, we're running out of firewood, so I put some orders in to then cut down the trees, and of course that's during the winter time. And sure enough, what happens is a lot of people come over to here to then start chopping the trees down over here from Village 1, so I lost a lot more people. So we then get round to the next winter and the struggling people are just dying of old age, caravanners are dying of starvation. I'm not sure what was going on there, I mean, it just seems a bit odd, but yeah, I lost a lot more people again, so we're now at a stage where we're down to only like 5 free people. I've had to take everybody out of the beehives because of that, and we're into spring of year 2 or 3, so as I say, I'd love to do like a test on this terraforming, but I just can't do it. I need a big enough amount of people to be able to sample it, otherwise it's just not going to work. But where we're at now is we've got all of our farms here actually built. I'm just waiting for the actual scarecrows to get built now, but that's enough to, you know, give us 4 fields. The only drawback is that we're just producing so much food now, it's getting crazy. I've had to put the cap up to 200,000, it was getting that bad. But what I have been doing in the meantime is this barn's just been getting fuller and fuller year on year. So what I've done is I've been selling vegetables over in the market over here. I was trading that for stone to begin with, and that's helped us get this barn up and running. And then I've been selling it off for fish. So we've got a bit of extra fish over here. I mean, I'm still getting people dying of starvation, which means they might be going out looking for things, you know, certain types of food, so they're wandering further to get it, so that could be it. I'm not sure what to do with the caravanners, because I don't know. I mean, those are frustrating ones, those ones, because I mean the furthest this one here goes to is to deposit some hides over to this barn, because that's where all of the actual people are. I think I might change the route and get them to dump it over there. But this one, for instance, has been dying of starvation. So that's a possibility. I mean, it doesn't seem too far to me, but that's their longest route, and yet they're dying of starvation. I mean, I've had people literally where a caravan has been walking along here, hungry, and died of starvation. I mean, they just don't have the sense to think, you know, well, I'm going to suddenly get hungry, I better, you know, I'll go and get something to eat before I do the next route. They're in the middle of the route when they get hungry, and by the time they finish their route, that's it, it's too late. There is a mod to get around that, but it's a bit risky to put that in to a game this late, because all of a sudden people will start eating a lot more food, so you could like decimate your food. Because I mean, the recommendation is just do it with a new game, but something I might have to think about to get around that. But in the meantime, we've got all this lot now done. I actually tore all this lot down and rebuilt it just to try and fit it in, make it a bit more symmetrical. So we've actually got all of the terraforming up this side completed. I mean, there was only about a couple of free labourers around at the time to do it, so I mean we've gone over like 3 years, so I had to do something. So I've just let that play out, and I've turned these stables around because they kind of fit in better, I think, that way around. Now, I could probably do with some wells. I think actually I'll put a... No, I don't want a scarecrow. There's no point putting a scarecrow in the corner. I want this, I want that, I want the street light. Give me a street light, right. So I'll put a street light over there, I hope that hasn't gone into the road. I don't think it has. I'm going to put in some wells as well. And that's just basically for the buildings in case, you know, things start setting on fire. Now, what I really want to do is I want to start pushing in this direction. I really need to get terraforming done, but it's part of that test I want to do. And there's just not enough people free for me to be able to pull it off. I mean, I've got... Last time I checked here, probably everybody in here was a teenager. So I don't know what's going on there. So realistically, I want to, before I press ahead with that, I want to wait until the population's back up again. I don't know what's going on here. I mean, I've expanded this place out now. Last time I checked, it wouldn't let me actually build anything. It's just saying you can't build in this area. Oh, there you go. Alright, that's better. Right, before that it wouldn't let me do it. Right, so I want to put that there. Right, so that's good. Now I'm going to have to widen that out a bit more. I'll trim those little edges off there. I'll have to widen it out a bit more because obviously I want to be able to put a well and a little hut for them. So that's good anyway. At least we're making some progress with that. So I think what I'm going to do, because I want to do this test with the terraforming, I'm just going to carry on with these over the, well, however many years it takes me to recover the population. Because, I mean, I'm not in a particular rush. I mean, we've got like 254 people out of a potential 273. So, I mean, I should start getting the population back. It's just going to take a while. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to focus on these fishing lodges, and then once the population's back up, we'll do our test on the terraforming. So, once that's ready, I'll bring you back. Well, it's taken me a long time to get the population back up to a decent level. Basically, it's because I've been doing like a load of work to get these roads over in Village 1 upgraded. So, now that we've got, what, 22 people available, just double checking everything's filled. I mean, I still don't have anybody doing the beekeeping yet, but I really just want to run this test and see what happens. So the idea is I want to be able to do some terraforming over here. So I'm going to extend that out. Nothing major, just out of curiosity to see what we can get. Actually, let's push it out a bit further, to be honest. Doesn't have to be precise, because I'm going to have to keep extending this like a lot further out anyway. So that says it needs up to 64 people to do this terraforming. Now I've only got about 22 labourers. Now I want to see, we've got right, let's say out of curiosity if I can cap this to say 5 people. Well, actually no, this is the test I'm going to do. I'm going to set this to nobody, because I'm just curious. Nobody's allowed to do this bit of work. So let's have a look and see if anybody's doing anything at the moment. So I'm assuming these will just be all going around chopping the trees down. Or are they actually going to come all the way out to here? Because this is phase 1. Right, okay, straight up you can see. Technically I've got nobody assigned to it. But you've got all these people. So I'm just going to pause this off. I want to force people to go away. Seriously, all of you, go home. I've got better things. So we've got a labourer in there. We've got... It's another labourer. Because what's got me concerned is if there's anybody going to come over from Village 1. Let's see if everybody's piling in through here. Because my theory is if nobody's assigned to do the actual work, then nobody will come over. Because that's my main concern, is how is the system deciding who does phase 1? Does it randomly pick a load of people and then that's it? It just sticks with them regardless? So I'm deliberately trying to force it so that there's nobody going to be coming here. But I just don't know. I don't know if that controls the terraforming or not. So we're into the spring, which is fine. So I'm not seeing anybody out here. So let's go back and check. Oh, no, see, there's a lot of people coming over. You can see them all coming over. So they've already been committed to this work. So even though I've paused it off, it's already been decided they're coming in to do their work. So the minute that instruction came through, they came out to do the work. Now, let's have a look. I mean, we've got potentially 26 people. So there you go. So there's somebody who works in the orchards. So if we go and see where they work, they live over here. Now, why are they coming out to here? Surely they should be working in the orchard. This is the bit I don't get. Why is somebody who works all the way over here? I mean, there should always be some work to do. It's the springtime. So I'm just intrigued as to why, you know, that person's come all the way over here to do the work when they've already got something else to do. So I'm just going to leave this running a bit and make sure that nobody else, you know, I want to make sure that everything's at a state where there's nobody over here doing anything. So I'm just going to pause it for a while and then I'll bring you back. Right, I'm not seeing anybody over here doing any work, so I'm going to unpause it. Let's see what happens. There's technically there's nobody allocated to do the work, but again, I don't know if all this does is control the terraforming. See, people are coming back out again. I've got a feeling I've got absolutely no control over this phase 1. So these are labourers so far. So these are, there's quite a few labourers who actually work and live over here, which is alright. But what bugs me is all of the people over in Village 1. Because if I have tons of people coming over from Village 1, you run into these problems where people starve, people die of hypothermia, and I've literally, there's nothing I can do. So we've got 4 people who work here. So that's Wilson. Who was the other one? Right, so he is now working here, so that's a good thing. Right, so it looks like that's been cleared. All we're waiting for is 12 ore coming through. Well, 12 ore needs collecting. And that's what, I think that's what that person over there is doing. Oh no, you're not, you're picking up, oh, they must have picked up the timber from here when they chopped the trees down. So I have a funny feeling we'll see at least 1 or 2 other people come over here, gather what's left of the ore, and then it'll just grind to a halt, because technically I think that and that dictates how many labourers and how many builders are going to be committed to phase 2, which is terraforming. I don't think there's any control over the actual gathering, and that's got me bothered. So let's see. Right, okay, so you're gathering, so where do you live then? Now this is somebody who lives over here. Now this is nuts. Let's try that labourer there. Where are you? So you're just, I mean, that person's just sitting around on their butt doing nothing when they could have been them doing this. Let's speed this up then. So unless I introduce some means to be able to sort of like get people fed while they're over here, even though they don't technically live here, I'm going to always be at risk of people coming over here from Village 1 and starving to death, and vice versa. When I'm doing things like road upgrades, for instance, over there, I'm going to have people from Village 2 going over there upgrading the roads and starving to death. So, I mean, I've got some control over, you know, if I do things like this during certain seasons. But, so at least then I can control, like, you know, I can stop people dying of hypothermia, because if I only do this sort of stuff during the spring, the summer and the autumn, yeah, I could probably get around the hypothermia problem. Although, to be fair, I have actually had somebody die of hypothermia during the spring, and the temperature was 12 degrees, so yeah, go figure. But it looks like I may have no control over that starvation problem, because I'm split between two villages, and I could have people over here doing work over there and vice versa, and there's nothing I can do. So this could be a big problem where I have these, I just have to sort of like either just put up with it and have a lot of people dying, and then have to wait for them all to get replaced, but it takes a long time to do, and that's the frustrating part. Right, let's commit that to 5 labourers tops. So let's see if I can at least control that bit. As far as I'm aware, I can. So you can see there's a few people come out, so there's one there, one there, there's a one down here somewhere. So you see, I do have control over that aspect, but where do you live? So you live nearby, so that's alright. You live nearby. I don't know if it's the same person, I can't quite tell. So you live nearby, so there seems to be that, at least that bit of intelligence going on. Actually, I didn't want to do that. I'm intrigued. So yeah, phase 2 is fine. Phase 1 though, yeah, that's a real pain, that. Oh well, I'll just carry on doing this anyway. I'll have to think about how to deal with it then. Well, we're doing a lot better now, so I'm really pleased. I mean, we've got a massive excess of food. I've got the cap up to 200,000 and we're still climbing. The farmers in the fields, they've stopped working. The fishermen have stopped working, just because there's just so much food coming in. And I think it's basically because there's plenty of everything going around. There's plenty of fish, meats, fruit and vegetables. So I think that's what's helping me have such a high balance of all of the food types. And it's basically because what I've been doing is I've been selling fish. I've been buying fish over the market. In this village, I've been trading vegetables for fish. I mean, I think at one point I had something like 16,000 vegetables in one of these barns over here. So yeah, I've been doing really well there. In Village 1, I was selling fruit and milk, and yeah, it was a case of I think that's what's basically helped me keep that surplus so high. So as long as I keep doing that, I think I should be fine, to be honest. I mean, it's allowed the population to get right up to 26 labourers. I've put 8 people back into the apiary. I've put 6 people into the logging, or the forestry, if you will. So I think we're doing really well. I mean, we're still producing so much food. I've started pausing things off, so I've got a I've got a potato field here and here that's paused off. I've got an orchard paused off. Just because we're just producing so much food and I just don't have any more need for it. It's getting crazy, to be honest. As far as village number 2 goes, I've done some expansion. I've got 2 fields over here because I need one for oats. Well, that's the oats one, that's the wheat one, and they're going to be used to provide resources for the tavern here. Now, I kind of lost the plot, I've realised, because I've done all this terraforming out here, and there's this one getting done over there. But the original plan was I was going to have a stable here, then another one there, then one there, another one there. But then I was thinking, well, where am I going to keep the actual farmer fields? So I've ended up putting those in, and then totally forgot I needed the caravan stables. So I'm going to have to deconstruct all this lot first, get my caravan stables in, and then I'll rebuild these higher up. But obviously I've got to finish this terraforming off, and then we'll expand out even further. And I can see we're already heading towards the water there, so that I can get, because the idea is to have 4 cattle fields, or cattle farms I should say, out there. We'll be needing hay as well to be able to feed them all. So I mean, what I've been doing is I've been building these up to almost the point where they're ready to go, and then just pausing them off. So yeah, I'll get that all cleared off and then it'll be finished. But as far as the population goes, I'm kind of stuck because I've got no control over phase 1 of this terraforming process. People just pile in and then start gathering resources, and that's it. They're dying of starvation, for instance, and I just don't think there's anything I can do. I think there's a mod out there that might help. I don't know. If there's a one that does, like, say, like where I could introduce an inn. I mean, it'd be great to have like an inn in the middle of this central area here, so that if somebody's passing through, they can go there to get their meals instead of having to go all the way home. Something like that would be great. Or maybe I could put something similar or smaller sort of thing over here. But nothing jumps out. The only thing I do know of is that there's a mod that extends the time between when people are feeding, so that way they'll last longer, and that seems a lot more practical, especially if they're travelling between the two. But I think it'd be more interesting if I could find some sort of like an inn or something. But for now, I'm just putting up with that, where people just die off, and the population does usually bounce back anyway, so it's not too bad. It's not the end of the world. But I've also then found there's another problem as well, because I've now got this issue where people are dying of like hypothermia during the winter, and or they're dying of starvation for other reasons. So like what I had in one instance, you've got that up here where it tells you like the number of hungry villagers, so it gives you like the counter. Now when I noticed that, I found a builder over here, and they had sure enough had a little symbol over them to say they were starving. So I paused the game while I was tracking them down, clicked on his little home icon, and he lived over here somewhere. And I thought that was kind of strange, because when I unpaused the game, he was heading off to village 2, and he came all the way to the hostel here, went in, got something to eat, and then came back out. So even though he actually lived over here at the time, he was coming over to here to get something to eat. And then during some of the winters, there was quite a lot of teenagers were dying of hypothermia. I think might have been one of them died around here somewhere, because when you get those sort of like events, you click on them and it shows you where they starved to death. Now that, to me, over here for instance, that labourer, doesn't make much sense. Why was somebody over here starved to death? There's plenty of food. I mean, there's tons and tons of food around. So I was really scratching my head, and I even actually found there was a little kid was walking down here, I think it was, with the hypothermia symbol over their head. Checked their house, and it was this house here. And I watched them, and they actually walked all the way. They just got to the steps, but that was it. They died there and then. And it got me thinking actually that I think what's going on is that people are moving around. So I remember there was a time where there was a lot of teenagers were living over here, for instance. At the moment there's tons of labourers. and I think at some point people's jobs changed or something, and people moved. And what happened was you had possibly like the builder, I think, for instance, who starved. I think at the time that the game decided that they were starving, they lived here, and by the time they started heading back in this direction, the game had made a change and decided they were now living over here, because at the time they were working over here. They were working on things like these fishing lodges that I've been putting in. I've extended all of these out. I still need to do that one, but I suspect the game, you know, it was at a point where that builder was walking all the way back to Village 2 to what was their house at the time, and that decision was set. After that, at some point, their house changed to somewhere over here, but it was already kind of like set in stone. This is where you need to go to get your meal from. So yeah, I think that was it's the only logical reason I can come up with, is that people are moving around. Decisions are made when you're either starving or when you've got hypothermia, and as soon as that decision's made, then you're going to head to wherever is your home at that moment in time. If your house then changes, it doesn't matter, you're still going to head to where you originally, you were given your orders to go to, and then you'll probably might suddenly decide to head back to where you live, especially a teenager or a child, because they don't really get up to much, whereas a builder is going to be going to work, they're going to be going to their home to get food, or at the barn to get food for the house, that sort of thing, so they move around a lot, whereas the teenagers and children don't, especially during the winter, because if I'm not cutting anything down, if I'm not gathering resources, they've got nothing to do except stay at home or go to school, or at least the teenagers go to school, I should say. So yeah, I think that's that other aspect of the game which I've got no control over effectively, because yeah, for whatever reason, people suddenly probably moved home too far to walk, froze to death. So yeah, it's another incentive to find a mod, but it's not essential, to be honest. I mean, I'm coping so far. We lost a lot of people, but the population has managed to bounce back, so that's the main thing. We're not seeing a complete collapse in the population. It just means it takes longer for me to get things done. Every so often I've got to let it play through the year to get the population back, and then I pick up and carry on from there. But I mean, it's not too bad. It's just an annoyance, really. But in the meantime, I'm going to get all this lot done over here, and then once we're ready, I'll bring you back. Well, we've finally made it. We've got a pasture now up and running. It's taken, I think, about 9 game years to get this all done. And it's just basically because of the amount of time and the number of people I keep losing. It's like I'm going through these like troughs and peaks of like people. I've had up to like 270 something people at one point, and then it's been dropping down into the 250s, where people have been coming over here to like pick up resources and take them to buildings to get built. They've been coming over here to chop the trees down, clear the areas out for the terraforming, and then by the time they start going back home, they start to starve to death. So that's a real problem. And then we've got things like teenagers and children swapping around, and they're dying of hypothermia or starvation during the winter. So I'm just getting these peaks and troughs every now and again. So it takes a while for the population to get back up again. So I really need to find a better way, I think. I mean, I can deal with it, but it just means it takes a long time. Now, as far as this area goes then, so we've now got that built. It's been struck about twice. I mean, I actually intended to pause all of them off and then just finish it off. Like you see, I mean, these got about like 1 unit of work left to do. This one I didn't quite catch it in time, so it got completely built, but it's been struck 2 successive years by lightning. The first time it almost got burned to the ground because nobody came out to put the fires out. So I intervened manually, got a hold of somebody and put them out myself. And nobody seemed to do anything to repair it, so I increased the number of herdsmen. So 4 people came over, assigned to do the job of working on here, and then they started to repair it. The next year there was nobody in this pasture, got struck by lightning. This time, fortunately, people put it out themselves, but again I put 4 people in just towards the start of this year to repair it again, just so that I can get ready. The hostel over there, it can have up to 22 people. I've got it paused off and reduced to 10 because the aim is I just want to get the fields here going, as well as the pasture. So may as well start these all off. They'll quickly change, no doubt. So I need 6 more people in the fields. So that takes us up to 51. Now, what I'm not going to do is assign any more people to the herdsman's job. I'm actually going to pause this one off. I am going to reduce the number of farmers by... no, it's not herdsmen, not farmers. It's let's see, it's the herdsmen, that's it. So we'll have 3 less herdsmen. I'm going to relocate half of these cows over to here. Hopefully they won't get attacked by wolves in the process. So I'll send them over here. So that gives us 15 of 18. So this, I mean, that pasture has about, it can store 18 cows, whereas this one does 30, I think it was. Yeah, over here you can have up to 30. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cull the rest of these off. Because I mean, we've got like nearly 104,000 meat, and we're sharing. It's basically, we're not actually consuming that much meat. So we've actually got something like 13,000 meat just sitting in the barn down here, because it's being shared out properly between the villages and the center point. So hopefully this will start to bring the amount of meat down, because that's starting to dominate storage. I mean, I've increased the cap, but we'll just have to see. So we'll play that. So running at ×5 speed. So yeah, a load of labourers came over here, but now they've all been kicked out, and the farmers and the herdsmen have moved in. So we should at some point... Oh, there's a cow there. So there's... That was quick. How did you get over here so quickly? I was expecting them all to come all the way, walking all the way over here. See, there they all go there. Oh, that's odd. Because obviously when this building got first built, a cow popped up, but sure enough, straight away it got eaten by a wolf. So I was like, yeah, that was, it just kept sitting there for ages, doing nothing, and then got struck by lightning. So I just need these cows to shift over here. So they're all going down that centre. They're all coming up here, I think. Yeah, they were all coming up here, and then wandering down the centre there. So hopefully they won't get eaten by any wolves on the way. I don't think the herdsmen do much about it. Oh, there's a wolf over there, I think. And that's the one thing I don't have. I don't have anybody out here to look after the place. I don't have any hunting cabins, and I don't have a tower either. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to slow this down. I know you want to do that, but I'm going to grab this person here. Let's see if I can find that wolf. There it is there. Right, I'll speed that back up again. So I'm just going to have to keep an eye on it. I mean, there's a lot of cows are going to be in this area anyway, so usually as soon as I get a warning that a cow's died, I'll just go and quickly check and deal with it. Because I mean, at the moment I think they can sneak in down through here. They can sneak in down here, and they can come up through here as well. Pack mule died of old age. Oh, okay. Alright, we've only got one in there now. Right, better send a mule over there as well while we're at it. So that's good anyway. So we've now got this all ticking over. So I'm just going to have to wait and see how we do for grass and then hay. I mean, I've got quite a bit of hay down here in storage. It does mean that these herdsmen are going to have to go quite a distance. But let's see at the moment. Hopefully that'll last a bit of a while. And then these farmers here will be able to get this all, ready by the end of the, well, probably be the end of next year because we're into summer now. It's a bit late for them to sort of like to be planting, to be honest. So I mean, we've got plenty of this hay anyway. I can always transport it, because that's what I did, is I transported all the hay over from village 1 to here. I mean, I could transport it all the way up, but the trouble is I've got a problem with the mules down here. Actually, there's somebody over there. Oh, I've got a problem here as well. Oh, Struth. That's no good. Yeah, I've just got to sit and wait for the mule to die of old age, because it's this one seems immortal. It's been taking ages to go away, this one. But once it's died, I'll be able to then replace it with a healthy mule. The alternative is I'll have to take all of the donkeys that are in this the farm here, send them to the caravan stables, send the sick ones to here. I can cull them off here to get rid of the disease, and then I can send the healthy ones back out and send some of them here as well. Well, send the majority here, I should say. That's one way I could fix it. It doesn't seem to be causing an issue. It's just that every now and again somebody gets rabies. So I've got the healer shops open. I just don't have anybody assigned to them. So that's a good thing anyway. We should start to see meat now getting produced over here. I mean, as I was saying, there's like this. I mean, there's plenty of it in the barn at the moment. There's up to like 13,000 in the barn. But it just means that now village 2 isn't dependent on village number 1 for its meat or its vegetables. So the next thing I want to start focusing on, aside from logs, is going to be fruit. So that means what I want to do next is I want to start expanding in this direction, which is... what direction is that? That's south. So I want to start expanding out toward the south. Oh, hello. More pack mules are dying of old age. Oh, is it? So you're down to 1. Right, okay, so I'll have to fix that. But yeah, I think what I'll be doing in the next video is I'll be clearing out that fishing lodge over there, and then I'll start to expand out here. It's going to take a ton of terraforming though, and I mean a lot of terraforming because we're going out into the sea. So yeah, we'll end up losing a lot of population unless I find it like a decent mod that can resolve this problem. But at least we managed to get all this sorted out. It's all doable, just takes a lot more time to do it now. But that's it for this video. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If so, then do please leave a like, as that'll help me out a great deal, and hopefully it'll attract more people to the channel. If you're new to the channel yourself and you'd like to see more content, then yeah, do please subscribe. Just remember to click the little bell icon, because then you get notifications for when I send new content out. If you've got any comments, any suggestions, want to leave any feedback at all, please post that in the comments section below. But until next video, thanks very much for watching. Bye!